trees if we still can. And that's the kind of thing, just decorate, come in, they'll have a couple different stations. I don't know now if we're meeting on Monday. We have run our classes in person all the way up until this morning with my last class. And now we have to evaluate on Monday, Tuesday, as a team, what that looks like. So there's a lot of hope up here that with the information that was coming through, they said community ed classes could still continue. And the district made the decision then not to. So there's a little bit of sadness that it came to that side of the decision because they were really hoping just to keep in person. And that leads to my question. Okay, gals, I need help because we haven't done anything virtual since
Same with me, Greta.
Hey, and I'm like sitting here going, oh my gosh, how do I improve this? So I would love to hear what little things you've been doing that really helped your game with virtual. My class today, actually, even this morning, all of them said we will not do virtual. So this might be the last time we see you. They're just like, I can't do it with little kids. 3 of them are grandmas. They're like, Zoom, Meet, nah. and it was really, I was really worried. They actually said they would like kidnap the decision makers and put them in a closet for 4 weeks if we could still keep meeting in person here on this day at this time. We'll be here. It will break down the doors. I mean, that's how passionate they are about staying in person, and they do not want to do virtual. So anyway, blah. Sorry about that. But so I would love to know.
That's really interesting to give it a try because I think it goes better than they think it might.
Yeah, it does.
And I think it's really important that we remind families that it's not going to be the same as it was in the spring.
Right.
In the spring, we were just, it was crisis. We were just trying to provide something to keep their days going. But it's interesting because, Greta, some of my families, they stopped coming in person, but I'm also in Rice County. We're 8th in the country.
Oh,
we're
wow.
8th in the country for cases. Yeah, it's completely out of control in this county. So I think our county number for 100,000 people now is at 200.
Wow.
So, people are just not, 197 was our 2-week average. So, but yeah, we're already planning on doing we're going to send home activities. We're going to post 4 activities every week. And then when they check in for circle time, we're going to have them share what their favorite activity was. So that kind of makes parents, gives them a little homework, but then it kind of they know that we're going to check in on them. And these are just really simple, go outside and look for, the color red. Did you find the color red? Little things like that and we all have those activity type calendar sort of things. Body Start has a really great movement calendar that you can download, and there's all sorts of movement pieces on there. So you can incorporate some movement in these activities, and heck, maybe not 4, give them 5 or 6 or 7, I don't know. But each week have them, tell us what they did. And then we're going to do art too. We're going to have them do an art. We're going to let families know, here are the supplies that you need. If you feel you can't get these by a certain date, let us know. And then we'll have them. We have not done any kits. Yeah. Karen, what do you, you're thumbing someone.
I'm showing you
Shelly, because she's going to show you everything.
Oh yeah, Shelly.
I'll show you an example of what we did that it really helped in the hybrid model when parents were here and then parents were on the screen. The people on the screen had the same activity that the teacher was doing in the classroom. So today I'm sending home 100 bags full of different activities for the next 3 weeks. So after this, that's what I'm going to be doing. But this is just an example. So this is flown. And then a sheet that kind of explains the activity, talks about what the materials, the instructions, and why you're doing it, what it's working on. So for every activity, a sheet goes home. And so then at the beginning of class, the teacher will be playing with this. The kids at home will be playing with it. They'll be talking about what they're doing. And that has actually really worked really well. So, I mean, I imagine we're just going to continue doing that, but just doing it virtually. So everybody got a take-home bag of different activities. The children's teachers and assistants have been working their butts off, getting it all together, and
That's class related. Most of the ECFE classes, but not all of them are getting that. It depends upon the class.
Yeah.
Yep.
We did something
those by US mail, postal mail, or?
So right now, like from 1 to 3, I'm going to be out front, and there's teachers out front right now. And so all the bags are down there with the kids' names on them. So parents are just driving up and we're just putting in their car.
Okay.
Are you making them specific or different ages? How are you doing the ages thing? Is anyone, or just it's the same thing?
It's kind of the same thing. Yeah.
And we did that too. We made a whole bunch of bags. Oh, sorry. Anyway, and we labeled them each with everybody's name, but then we made specific like baby bags, just like with parenting information in the baby bag, because we know that they can't do a whole lot of the activity yet that we sent home with the older kids. So we did that. And then like you guys too, we had everybody's name on a bag. They came through, they picked it up. And then we like totally cleared out our classroom of just projects that we've had that we've kept forever, right? Like, and so we just threw them in the bags, and then we're doing everything through Seesaw. So like my early childhood teacher is doing videos and explaining through Seesaw what the activities the kids can do with, certain things. Otherwise, we just kept it open-ended. We're like, here's some stuff, have fun, do with whatever you want, but share it with us. Like throw your pictures on Seesaw and throw your activities on Seesaw so that other people can do it if they're stuck. So that's, yeah.
And the other thing too that we were thinking with the activities that we're going to send home, we're going to have them post videos to Parentopia. So take a picture of your kids doing their art, take a video of them doing this, make a snow angel or, whatever, just to kind of get parents engaging with each other outside of class. And so they feel a little more connected and less alone. So that's kind of, we're going to really, I hope we don't overwhelm some parents, but I really do want to get them to be checking in with each other more than just Tuesday during their Zoom. And this is if they sign up. They have to sign up in January.
Well, in one of my classes, and Shelley has a similar one of my classes, or two of them actually, were outdoor oriented. So we're outside all the time. And now that everything is digital, they're like, well, I don't know if I want to join. I don't know why I would want my kid on Zoom. No, not going to happen. But what I did is I renegotiated with the parents and said, okay, what would you like? What would work for you? I mean, this is some classes do, 15 minutes of interaction time and then 45 minutes of discussion. And some classes do, a half hour of Zoom for the kids. And what would you like? And they wanted the half hour Zoom for the kids. So there's a model, a visual schedule. We do this. And that would include that activity, some of the activities that like Shelley showed. And then I thought, well, okay, now my job as a parent dad, even though I can do both, my job as a parent, so where do I plug into that? But my response is, I'm just going to watch and I'm going to add as we go along. I'm just going to weave it as we go along. Knowing this group of parents, they've been a part of ECFE for a while. It's only 3 families that are doing this. So I'm just going to pull back on the parent pieces. And then as I hear or see things, then I will add things to Parentopia or to email or to whatever. And we'll go from there. We have, I think, 3 to 4 weeks left of this class. So I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens.
You're all so excited and passionate. Sorry, Melissa. Oh, you want me to go? It's just so like, everybody's like talking fast and like, here's what we're doing. What are you doing? Here's what we're doing. It's so,
a long week. We're all like,
yeah, I know. I feel like I need to take a deep breath. I was like, whoo, that was a lot to take in. But I just wanted to jump in and someone, I think Ellen brought up January registration. So the only thing new I have to add to all of that hasn't been said is we ended up we do 2 semesters as well. And so we tried really hard to get the people that are signed up to just continue in January. And so we gave them incentives. We told them that they got priority registration before our new catalog goes live, because we haven't taken any registrations for January yet. We don't do that till November. So they got priority registration, and all they had to do was give their name to their teacher and they're in. They didn't have to pay, nothing. And so they have to sign up online or however formally before the class starts. But because we're not starting in person, they're free until we're on site. So there's like no risk, like just stay in your class, try this out. Like you said, this isn't going to be a repeat of last spring. We kind of know some things now. So give us a shot. And I think that's helped a lot to get people in and trying it.
So can I ask just quick, how many of you do semester, like 2 semesters? Because we do a full year. Semester.
We do 4 different. So we have a fall registration, then a winter registration, and then a spring registration, and then if we had anything in the summer, but we haven't had anything in the summer for a while.
Same for us too. We kind of do trimesters.
Same for us.
St. Paul is just one school year, one registration. And then we add, if someone joined us in the middle of the school year, we just let them in, but just one, September, that's it.
Yeah, and I feel like for people who are doing like 2 halves or, a whole year, you're in luck because you've already paid.
Right.
Whereas our families, I mean, fall was decent, spring might be fine, but I am very, very concerned for winter. Because Greta, like you said, a lot of them are just the toddler families. I have a core group of toddler families. They are hardcore. They will show up online because they love each other. Like I had one group this session that just felt normal. Do you know what I mean? And the rest of them were super disjointed. The parents didn't interact with each other because they were staying separate from each other. So what the relationships that we had in the spring, we do not have them this fall. And now we have, for 4 weeks before they're going to see each other. So yeah, Greta, I'm with you. I wanted to reiterate, like, I'm very concerned. I think the 12 classes are going to whittle down to like 3.
Well, we had nobody sign up this fall for anything in person at all. The only thing that anyone has shown up for us right now is my evening parenting classes that are virtual. I've been doing those from 8 to 9 at night in hopes that kids were going to sleep and that they could get on. And so my option, we are only allowed to offer virtual now all the way through January, even though we're only distance for the next 2 weeks as a district. So my option that I'm going to offer is, luckily they said our entire winter session can be free. So everything is free. And I broke it down. So I'm doing a half an hour option where I have it stated just as me doing a story and songs with them, just to try and get them to show up. And I'm a little like Karen. I'm just going to throw in a little parenting throughout that time, a couple of comments here and there, because I do both as well. And then that evening, the same, I have it connected so then they could come to the 8 to 9 o'clock evening session during that time frame. That is like a series. I have it signed up as a series class, so you don't have to participate in the day one to be part of the evening one. But if you wanted to keep that connection, they run on the same schedule. And then I offer with the circle time and story time one that we would have an online group, that Parentopia, that hopefully they will connect with each other there a little bit more. And in that, I'm going to post some activities for their day, like what your day would look like if you were in school. So some of the activities, but I don't have kits to go home right now. So if I get people signed up, then I might steal your kit idea and add some kit things that they could do if they needed the supplies to participate. But that's currently my idea, as long as people sign up. So we'll see.
So I hear you guys, some of you are allowed to offer free classes. Like we went virtual kind of the beginning of November, but it was basically, we had to tell our families it has to be all or nothing. Like, unfortunately we need payment, or, so how long and how are you offering classes for free? I know we did it in the spring, and that's kind of why we're still saying right now, like, we got to make up that money kind of. So how are you guys able to do the free stuff right now?
I can speak for ours. For now, it's just our winter book that is free. And we are offering a total of like 8 classes. Like it's not much. So we're not expecting a ton of income anyway. We're really just trying to get parents to start participating. And the hope is if we get them showing back up again, that maybe in the spring we'd be able to charge again. But right now we just need parents to show up. So there's not a lot of output either, because currently I've been the only one that has actually gotten hours in those evening classes because nobody else is showing up. We did charge for those in the fall. They're just free now through the winter. So.
Hi, everyone. Two things. One is I can't tell you the joy in my heart to see that you start our meetings now on your own. Is exactly in my vision. The other thing is I just noted my own little baby contribution on this, since I'm not where you guys are, is just a reminder. So Common Sense Media has really been putting a lot of resources into distance learning and that sort of thing. So they have this thing now, this wide open school, and they have it differentiated by age group. So, and I get emails, regular emails from them, sort of updates. Anyway, so this one about holiday activities and gratitude just came by. So I'm just sharing that link if you're talking about different activities.
It looks great. I've already texted it to my early childhood teacher. So
yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
I'm also sending it an email saying, hey, here's some stuff. My early childhood teacher is very Montessori, like she has a lot of Montessori background. And so like trying to find things to do online, she's just like, oh, so anything like these, if any of you guys find really great things that like just tell you what to do. That's awesome.
It's been a real gift to watch how the teachers teach online. I mean, I have a couple teachers that are strictly digital learning, and now they're all going digital. But it's been really cool to see how they have come together. And it's a lot of visuals. It's a lot of patience. It's a lot of real life. Oh yeah, now you can do this. And oh, try this. And let's move the camera this way. I mean, so they've really done a good job with that. So it's nice to see a model. I guess that's my point. It's nice to see a model.
So what have some of your focuses been like with your early childhood teacher, or even just for you guys? Like I went to Facebook pages with my my parent ed pieces, but like my early childhood teacher's doing Seesaw, but she's doing a lot of like, use this in your home so you don't have to go out and buy it. And this is how you can use this activity, and that you can use it in a million different ways. And then I'm just throwing out parenting, stuff on Facebook. But what are your guys's, like, what are some of your focuses right now?
A lot of social emotional, emotion coaching, self-care. Those are kind of where I'm at.
It depends upon the class and if we're topic focused or not. Although with my dad's class, we were topic focused, and we spent the whole time talking about parenting during the pandemic and the change to digital learning. So, always keeping with what's current, what's really going on, what's real, what's practical. That doesn't help you. Sorry.
Well, Cinnamon, in the spring, I did a survey at the end of spring session, and I think we did 6 weeks online. And I sent a survey saying, what did you enjoy about parent time? Did you enjoy that we were able to check in? Because I felt like we were all so shocked with everything that was happening. And I felt like not letting the parents check in with what was going on was like, okay, we're going to talk about potty training today. Like, you know what I mean? People were losing their jobs. So, however, I got feedback from some of the groups that some of them really didn't want to hear about everybody's issues, and they really did want to focus. So I feel like if what I'm going to do next time is say, we're going to have a topic, and then we're going to save questions maybe to the end, or maybe I'll go every other week. 1 week, it's all about questions that you have. Next week, we're going to dive right into whole brain child or, conscious discipline or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So just keeping in mind that sometimes they are coming to unload, but they also may be coming to just get what good information that we have. So I think a balance of what they need versus what that prescribed needs that we know they have. That's just was my experience. And I need to not just let them dump.
Right.
Even though I feel like for some of them, that's what they need.
Yep.
So if that makes sense. I don't know if that really answers your question.
No, it does help. And I that's why I leave my email out there too and say, you know, if you do, I don't say that we're dumb, but like, I understand, you know, like, but if you need to like express something or you want to say something, you know, that's a little harder or you need more information about it, just please email me. And so I have gotten those couple emails too, but yeah. But
is anyone still doing the drop-in office hours? Because that seemed to be a place for folks to, if they, like you were saying, Cinnamon, you know, like people could reach out and if they had questions or they needed assistance. And as you were talking, I was thinking, you know, earlier, Ellen and others were talking about having, you know, like that time people can just drop in and talk.
I don't know if there's anyone on this call from St. Paul, but we copied you guys. I saw on the catalog this section about, oh, now I'm not going to remember what it was. It was something about they offer a 30-minute consultation or something like that. So we put that in our catalog, the one that will be mailed out and online with a parent educator's phone number, email, contact information. So we haven't had that yet, but we're wondering if anyone will take advantage of that, especially families who've been in ECFE before and just haven't come back or registered for anything.
I still offer office hours every Tuesday, and it changes from the morning to the afternoon from week to week. And I definitely been contacted periodically, and I'm over here saying I haven't run a single ECFE class. So it's very hit and miss with what they need. And as far as topics go, because I've been doing the evening ones and offering just by topic, I can see where people are signing up. So I am getting less signing up for talking about play as learning, talking about the like in a distance model. How are we gonna still, they don't want that. I have not had any sign up for anything geared in that realm. Talking about stress and how to handle stress for yourself and your child was one of the biggest ones. And I saw that last spring too. Anxieties, stress, self-care definitely are still what they want. And I do a little 5-minute Facebook Live every Thursday. And the ones that have been most engaged on are the ones where I'm telling the parents to give themselves grace and to take a breath. And here are some daily ways to take a breath. And here are some bigger stress reliever type things. And it's okay that we don't all feel okay all the time. Those have definitely been the ones that are watched the most, besides the ones that I have a song and I'm singing with my puppet. They like those too, but that's because of the kids, not because of the parents. So.
Ellen, I just saw your thing about Google Voice. Oh, hi, kitty. What's your kitty's name?
This is Daisy.
Daisy.
She's a pill.
Sorry, you know, I'm like squirrel.
Cat. I know.
Could you talk a little bit about Google Voice? What it is, how you set it up, how you use it?
Yeah, I just, I think just go to, you have to have your Google account. I could not do it through my school account. I don't know why. Bye, Carrie. I had to use my own personal Gmail, but it doesn't matter because it just gives you a phone number. And I signed up for it because we were moving offices this summer and I wasn't going to be able to access my phone, but I wanted, because I was still running our newborn class, I wanted families to be able to get a hold of me. So it's a simple app on the phone. And it has, when you make a call, it does not call from your own phone number. So I'll show you an example. I'll pretend I'm going to call myself. Who am I going to call? Okay. I'm gonna call this person. No, I don't want to call that person. Nope, just kidding. Never mind. But it will not call, doesn't use your own phone number. It uses a random, like Google somewhere number. There's a slight delay on the call that I've noticed. But otherwise, parents will text me like crazy to this. They'll be like, hey, where's that resource on such and such? Or some parents used it to tell me they weren't coming to class. Some parents were like, I can't access the file that you sent. But I feel like parents are using that more to contact me versus email. So, but if you just go to Google Voice, it's really easy and you set it up.
How did you promote it, Ellen? How did you present it? As
I put it at,
what?
Yeah, I put it at the bottom of my signature, my email signature.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then I just say text or call if you have any questions.
So not your office phone at the bottom of your emails.
Nope, not my office phone, especially
and
now.
Do you use Remind too?
I did use Remind, and some families did message me through Remind as well, but quite a few messaged me through there. Susan just put the post up. It's crazy easy, and I like it because then I can text, and then I use this for home visiting too. So parents can message me, but they do not have my cell phone number.
So does it come up like Google's calling, or like how do they know it would be you calling them?
So it comes through as my number. So they see my number when I call, but for whatever reason, when you call out, it uses some other number in Google, but they can see my number when they call. They can see my number when I text them. I don't know how it works, but.
Your Google number?
I'm sorry, Sharon.
Oh, sorry. Your Google number or your actual phone number?
My Google number. They can never see my actual number.
Great. I've been wondering, because I've been thinking so much about how I can text families, because that seems to be what families want to be able to do. Email just, texting is the thing. And so I just want to be able to do that. That's super helpful. Thank you.
I started using Remind, and Remind they've really liked a lot, some more than others, but they like that more than emails. It's a nice quick one to use too. And then some prefer Seesaw. I like that you are anonymous, but you kind of are with Remind too, right? It's not, when I send out Remind from my phone using the app, it's not sending my phone number, right? Okay.
Nope.
That's one of those things that we didn't get a lot of time to practice things. So I'm using like 3 or 4 different things, and I don't really know how it all works and what it all looks like to them on the other side and all that stuff. And that's part of the rush of the last 9 months that has probably made me feel uptight the most, because I don't really know how to solve a problem that I might be able to solve. I mean, there's probably thousands that I can't solve, but I feel like there might be some I can, and I just don't know because I don't know yet. And I haven't had time. I don't know if anyone else feels that way or not, but thanks for sharing, Ellen, because then it gives us more data to figure out what we're doing and the details of it. So by the way, Alt-A takes your microphone off mute. It's a little hack I learned today.
And spacebar.
And spacebar, but it's not working for me right now, Ellen. It did the first when we got on here, but not then. So spacebar, you hold it down and it just keeps it. Is it working for you either? It's working for you.
While you talk. And then let it go.
Oh.
Not for Karen. Ooh, I have a special Zoom.
Got it. Wait, say that again. You hold down the space bar while you talk and it mutes you?
No, the other way.
Unmutes you.
It unmutes you.
Like right now, I'm holding down the space bar, and then as soon as I let it go, it'll mute me again.
Mutes again, which is so awesome. So for that little interjection.
So keep it.
Now you're muted. You have to press it down to unmute.
But do I hold it down to unmute? Because I'm not doing it now.
That's weird.
Well, Ellen, what's wrong? At the beginning of the meeting, I was muted. I held down the space bar. I said something, let go of it, and it would work perfectly. But no, it doesn't seem to be wanting to do
I wonder if it's one of those big settings.
Well, and I'm also on a Chromebook. Does that make a difference?
Oh, Chromebooks.
All right.
Don't get me started. My husband's school, they're getting all the teachers' laptops and taking all the Chromebooks away. I go, I want to be in your school district. That would be awesome. The Chromebooks are crazy for, anyway, sorry, I'm gonna stop.
Well, the space bar thing isn't working for me. I don't know.
Thank you.
Never mind.
No, it worked for me. I just figured it out. I thought it was if I could push on it to mute it. It doesn't. It can unmute it, but it doesn't mute it. Okay. Moving on.
Well, fun things. Good to try. Good to try. So my basic question is about your school district tech support. I know I ask this about once, like 4 times a year, but your school district tech support, are they useful to you? And then on these specific applications, like Remind or Google Voice or Zoom, things like that, are they helpful on specific applications? So it's a 2-part question. Basic support from your school district tech support, and then 2, specific support on specific applications.
I have a quick answer. We are lowest on the totem pole for support. So if anyone else is needing support, they are coming first. So it feels like it takes a while to get any help with it. To be perfectly honest, I have a brother who's in IT, and I have started just going straight to him first to see if he can help me before I ask our staff anymore. So that's just where I am.
They made a bunch of videos last spring, and so I know that those are out there for some of these apps, but I don't think Remind is. Seesaw is because it's used by our preschool, or our preschool and our elementary schools. But I don't, Remind is used too, but I don't know that they have anything out there for Remind. Okay. But I know they have them video, like you can go out and look at it, but it's often just the one specific question that I have more than wanting to be fully trained again.
I am used to classes going through the district PD channels, but IT classes don't do that in this district. So we got a document that has a zillion links on it that we can, if we want to know how to share host in Zoom or whatever it might be, it links us right to all that stuff. So I'm still looking for the time to go into that doc as deeply as I'd like to. But I remember the good old days when we would go to Ties, or we would go to somewhere and get those, 2 hours of how to do a PowerPoint or whatever it might be. And those days are gone.
So I'm pretty psyched that our district bought us the licensed version of Zoom. I think that's kind of a big deal that we were included in that. Yeah. But like Karen says, you get this document, you have to wade through and figure out which parts apply to us. And we do have a designated tech person who is way overwhelmed and has way too much to do, but she gets notifications from our tech department at the district level. And we just got word that our district is hiring more tech support, and we will be included in that. Like, that's the first time ever that somehow we're on the radar again. Mm-hmm. And we are going to get some devices for kids in need too. They're on order right now.
So would this ever be, how many of you are part of your unions? I mean, would this ever be a union issue? I mean, is it a big enough, I research this stuff and I write about this stuff, and compared to K-12 teachers, there's very clear evidence that when any person is given tech support, right, and tech training, tech devices, that they are better at using them. They feel that they feel more confident in using them. They have better attitudes about technology. They are more open to trying new things, right? But in comparison to sort of the formal teachers, right, that, as someone said, you're not like on the front lines. And then what is the result? Well, the result is, you're on your own, or you're doing exactly what I used to do 15 years ago, which was to call my husband, you know, and ask him to help and bear the brunt of his first asking me, well, did you back it up? Or, you know, something like that. Yeah. And then there's inconsistency, right? So then, anyway, but I just wondered how you all feel about not having more reliable support, and or maybe you're fine. I mean, you're here, you're on, you guys are great. I don't hear anybody complaining. So
we actually just had this conversation the other day. I have done a fairly good job of figuring it out. We do everything through Google. So we got Google Meet is how we're doing all of our meetings and everything. That's what our district said. So they're doing Google Classroom. So everything is Google. And so I talked with our boss about just having for our staff development day where we just went through and learned about it. And so we're going to do it out of our staff development funds and get some of that support to just learn more, at least, because sometimes I think that's the holdup of IT is that they're inundated with questions of things that we should be able to figure out ourselves. So if we get the proper support in learning it in the first place, maybe that will be a little bit more helpful too.
You know, it might be worth asking on Friends of Family Ed if anybody is like, we have one of our special ed teachers in our building is he is a Seesaw god. We call him Kyle the Seesaw God. And so he did a 1-hour crash course training on how to use Seesaw because he has used it so much. It works really great with his special ed families. And so just reaching out to someone saying, are any of you experts in Pear Deck, you know, class dojo, you know, there may be somebody who's willing to do a little mini PD for 30 minutes or an hour for us. You know what I mean? Like, it just might be worth a shot if anybody considers themselves, you know, an expert in something.
Okay, Ellen, I'm going to be Debbie Downer here.
Okay.
Why is that fair?
It's not
fair. It's not fair. The Seesaw God, right? I mean, this is what happens all the time. And I am so freaking frustrated with it, you know, ask Chris Bezzetta in St. Paul, you know, and Chris did the same thing, I think, up in Osseo. You know, I did some professional development up there on technology, you know, and the guy wasn't there to do all the LCD hookup back then. And of course, every head in the room turned toward Chris Bezzetta to do it, right? And so, yes, I think it's a great idea, right? It's a way that we can harness resources, and it's what you and I are doing, you know, I mean, with the Google Docs and sharing and stuff like that, you know, but when it comes to somebody who is already overworked, somebody who is really stretched and stressed and trying to navigate for themselves how to meet the needs of their children and families, then that person becomes our go-to tech person when you all are in wonderful school districts that should be ponying up these resources for you. So sorry. It's just, it's a point of that really bothers me because, and especially as women, you know, like we are likely to step up and go, oh, let me help. Oh, you need to know how to do that. Like I will totally help you, right? And then it's one more thing rather than saying, no, we are professionals. And if you want us to do this and you want us to do this well and consistently, and you know, these school districts, sorry, I'm on my soapbox now, but the school district should be really worried about privacy and security. And so this isn't just about the quality of teaching. This is also about breaches that they may be liable for when somebody posts something that is copyrighted material, or it is a picture of somebody's child who was naked in a bathtub or something like that, you know, or they don't update their password and a hacker gets in. I mean, they have got to be thinking much more systemically about not only quality, but security. And this should not be on the shoulders of the individual professionals to one more time find their own time, resources, look up on YouTube on how to do stuff So sorry, it's my thing, and it's just is, I appreciate the suggestion, and you all know I have been that person many, many, many times and will continue to do that. But anyway.
I'm hoping that it shouldn't have taken something like this to bring these conversations to light. I think now districts might be like, oh, we need to put a little bit more time into X, Y, and Z of training. So hopefully it'll be better from here on out, but I won't hold my breath.
It's great to hear, Christy, like you're saying about, you know, finally being on the, you know, being recognized and noticed and being involved.
Well, you know, I'm cynical because I think it's about the money. So the data that came in about passing levy referendums showed that young families don't turn out to vote, but if they do turn out to vote, they vote yes. So the families that we work with, this is just totally my own spinning about it, but I think we're paid attention to because we can bring voters to vote yes for levies. That's part of it. It's part of it. The other part is like every few years we have to re-educate. Like, oh, yep, here we are. It's not K-12, and we're just now. We had a new superintendent, like a new director of elementary education a few years ago, and so then it was okay. We're starting over. Here we go. Got to make sure. Here we are, and now we're back, you know, on an upswing there. But it's just interesting how we have access and can help prepare our families and children to enter the schoolhouse door in a really effective way. This is what I always get stuck on. Like, these are the kids. We got them first. Support us. Makes your job a lot easier. You know, like taking that part too. And we do have 4-year-old preschools in buildings, and that really helps raise their consciousness about who we are and what we do and what we need.
I will say that in Hopkins, we have we're very much recognized and included in pretty much every conversation about technology, about just about everything. And I take, you know, there's a long history of that. And we've got some pretty great leaders in our early childhood program that really step up to make sure that happens. But I will say the flip side of that is that means that we end up having to use all of the K-12 platforms, which may not be the greatest thing for our parents. So like using Canvas, we have no option in early childhood to use any other platform except for Canvas or Google Meet. That's it.
What is Canvas? What's Canvas?
Canvas is one of those like a K-12 digital learning type of a situation. So like we can't use Parentopia, we can't use Zoom, we can't use some of these other platforms that we know are much, much, much more flexible for parents. So, you know, I say, be careful what you wish for with that as, yeah, and you use Canvas at the U of M. It's a fine platform, but at the same time, then we are given the specific guidelines of what K-12 uses, and then we are expected to follow those. So, and we have the support to a certain extent. It's just, it's not helpful for parents of young children necessarly.
Right.
You could invite Susan.
I mean, my thing is just about, and San, I heard that you guys had just gone to Google Meet and you're not supposed to use Zoom, you know, is like, I think there's, and you just heard me preach on this. So I absolutely think that you should be given tech support. That said, there's also that question of being able to experiment with other things that you find useful, but you take on the liability and you take on the responsibility of figuring out how to use it and So that, and because this is something that the university will do, is because I've had friends over in computer support, and you're in the computers. And so those geeks will find other applications and they prefer them, like Slack, for instance, they prefer them to use for teaching. And the universities are like, fine, but just know we won't support you. Like we don't have those people on staff who know how to use those. And they're like, fine, we're 15 steps ahead of you anyway. And so, I think there should also be, though, that flexibility. I mean, I understand it, again, from a liability standpoint, from a school district. That said, if they have trust in the professionals who will use things responsibly, and and also acknowledge and push back. I mean, this is the conversation we've had in school districts around Parentopia, right? I mean, and I'm not advocating it compared to other things, but if but like Schoology or Canvas, I would never use that with parents, right? I mean, that's just, oh my gosh, like I barely like using it with graduate students, let alone parents, and so it'd be like, if you're not offering me a platform that meets the needs of my instruction and of my learners, then either then pay for me to have access to their support, because places like Zoom and that, I mean, any software company has technology support. And usually if you pay for it, right, it'll be really good and timely. You can have tailored training sessions and things like that. So one option is that they do give you the flexibility to find additional platforms that meet your learners' needs. And then they support you with that kind of technology support, or that at a minimum you step up, like they trust that you'll take responsibility to be able to use it capably and to be able to use it safely. But this thing of you can't use anything but this is, I think they could be way more flexible than they are. San, and I would say that including, I mean, in terms of like this Google Meet Zoom thing, when essentially there you have essentially the same platform, or you were saying like, I'm going to use Facebook versus Instagram or something like that. It's like, essentially they're the same platforms. It's just what they've chosen to pay for, but then there's also, and then finally, and then I'll shut up. But the final thing I think is what your learners are used to, and so if they're comfortable and you've got them, I think the success, like in Albert Lea, for instance, on using Parentopia is because you guys have been using it for the last couple of years, and your parents and your teachers, they know it's not perfect, but they know what it is, right? And they know how to use it. They know how to access it. And again, this thing of constancy when you've got chaos is, keep things as consistent as you can while the boat is rocking. So anyway.
Speaking of keeping Karen, or not Karen, Susan, I'm looking in one and then saying the other. Sorry, yeah, where are you? Thanks for mentioning that. But speaking of constancy, I want your idea on this. I'm proposing to our meeting next week about going virtual to postpone. We have 3 weeks left of our classes. To postpone those 3 weeks, don't even meet, and come back in January when our winter classes were supposed to start, and finish, and then have a shortened semester. And we have enough flexibility that maybe we could do that schedule-wise. But do any of you have thoughts initially like, oh, I would reconsider that, Greta, because A, B, or C, or, oh, that's a great idea because of A, B, or C, or anything like that? Because I would like the consistency of just they're used to being in person to stay in person instead of flipping over into all these different ways of doing things. But I'm not sure if it really makes sense. The language from Community Ed was some classes are going to be put on pause and some are going to go to distance learning. So what would it be like to go to pause? I just wonder if anyone comes up with anything that I'm not thinking that I meant to think of. Yeah.
My only fear with you going to pause is that will you be able to unpause? Depending on what happens with the pandemic, you might not be allowed to come back until March. So then you're not offering anything during that whole time frame? Or would you only pause until January regardless? And then in January, if we aren't able to pick up, we will offer a distance option at that time. I don't know, just something to consider there, that if you can't unpause.
Okay, thanks, Melissa. That's thoughtful.
I'd also say that I'd be concerned about losing families because attention spans are so, it's easy to forget. And if you don't have that constant piece, I'm just afraid we'll lose them. We've lost so many already. You don't want to lose the ones that you have right now.
What about go ahead, Melissa.
I was say, kind of to go off of that idea of if you aren't able to unpause and you suddenly do have to go distance in January, did you lose the opportunity to try to get them there right away? And now they've been without class this long. I don't like the distance idea. I'm not even going to try it at this point.
Yeah.
They might be more likely to try it straight out of class than waiting out.
Good thought. Yeah.
I'm already concerned. Our last week of class is the first week of January. First week of December. I'm already concerned that in those 3 weeks of December, we're going to lose families.
Greta, are you still on contract?
Mm-hmm.
So because I completely agree with what's been said about losing people. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about offering at least a compromise, or so that if you're still on contract, you can be online. You can continue to have a presence, mm-hmm. and then, but maybe it's not what what your school district would consider a class.
Yeah, so I was thinking, what about a modification of it of some sort? Like, I will stay in contact. I'll try to even meet maybe on the phone or Zoom or something once a week. I don't know, or something. I could still, because our classes are smaller, we have fewer of them, so I could logistically do it. Last spring, I couldn't logistically do it, Ellen, right? When we had 12 classes and they were full, and you're like, how do I contact each one of these people? But right now I could possibly do that, or give a packet for them to do for the 3 weeks. For the 3 weeks, have one packet that we send out at the end. They're doing things, they report back in, but not like one every week, and not, or some sort of modification where we, keep connected.
Well, that's the thing is, so I think that's a focus on what are your objectives for your families. So to me, and it's like the learning packet thing is a solo activity that I, as a parent, am doing with my child. And so that tells me that the school district cares that my child is continuing to learn, which to me is a separate objective from my staying connected to other parents and my staying connected to you as an emotional, informational source of support. So that's why, but that's where I default to all the time.
No, that's good.
Where I'm thinking, and I also know the real value of instructor presence. I mean, in terms of you all's presence to the families. And so I guess I'm just thinking of, yes, whatever you can do to give them things to do with their kiddos, but that if it's not called a class, still an opportunity to gather together in some sort of a shared space for the families that want to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's what I just posted in the chat. I haven't used Parentopia up until now, but I opened up a group and I'm going to invite them today saying, hey, everybody, if you were in ECFE this fall, here's a group like, here's a thing like Facebook. It's secure, it's all that, for you to ask each other questions. Cause I want to get off. I dumped all my Facebook groups that I created this spring, but anything to keep them connected to each other.
Have any of you contacted families that you haven't seen since spring?
I had a draft going. I had a draft in my email. I went through my rosters and I found everybody I hadn't seen. And right before our district closed to go all distance learning, I was going to say, hey, everybody, I've missed seeing you. I've missed your kids. I hope you're doing well. And I'm going to let me know if you have any questions. And I'm going to have a Zoom for you all, of course, on my own time, because my coordinator wants to charge for these, and we all know. Cinnamon, I love your little Zoomer there. Hi, little Zoomer. But
a little 8-year-old whirlwind that, just holds up. Yep.
But you know, just to reach out, because I feel like even you guys, if they don't take the bait, right? Even if they don't take the bait, they're like, oh, I got an email from Greta. That was so nice. That was really great of her to message. They might not take it, but at least they know that you're offering. And every time we throw out a little bit of, hey, let me know if you guys need me, come January, they might be like, hey, you know, I'm bored. We can't leave the house. Everything kind of sucks. Maybe we'll hop on.
Yeah, I came up with 50 names, 50 names of families. I'm thinking, where are they? What are they doing? We should know. We should find out. So that's encouraging, Ellen. I think I'm going to follow through with that. I was hoping to write a little note off of Katie Smith and send everyone a little card by thinking, the postage is getting a little expensive. It's not necessarily going to happen, but good ideas. Thanks.
Well, and you could just make a general, how are you? I've been missing you, and just copy paste it and put in the names of the parent and the names of their kids.
Yeah.
Because that would be, it will take more time, you guys, but copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Make sure you change the name. Because that's a lot more, that's personal, instead of just doing a whole group email of everybody.
Yeah, and it's more like what you were saying, Susan. What did they say? They said at the community, they've said last week, everyone wants to be seen and heard. And I think that says you've been seen and I've heard you and I'm reaching out again, right? And so.
And I think that it's also a way to acknowledge, sort of coming full circle in our conversation of, you know, when you're saying about sort of focusing on topic versus letting everybody dump. You know, I do think that there is that middle ground of maybe not dumping, but of I'm really needing some social connection. I'm here alone with my kids, or I'm really stressed, and just having that weekly connection with, you know, with Greta, with Shannon, with Ellen, you know, with whoever, you know, is, or with my class, or with that parent who lives 3 blocks away, you know, or whatever, is so meaningful to them. And that's, you know, again, not getting geeky about this, but there is an identity to being an ECFE parent. There is an identity to having this place that people belong to. And so getting that message of that reminder of this is where you belong. This is where you are a member of this community. You are seen as a member of this community. I care about you as a member of this community. You know, just stuff like that is like, I'm not alone. I am not alone in this. And that really makes a big difference to me, you know. And the last thing, I think the other thing is like celebration, because I think the opposite side to dumping is like, what are you happy at? Like, what are you celebrating? I'm celebrating that I got out of last week's sweatpants, you know, and, you know, whatever it is, you know, I think that also being in community to share those celebrations. The little thing I'm doing with my undergraduates is we're celebrating birthdays. I just asked them beginning of the semester. And so it's on our calendar. And so about every week and a half, you know, it's just, and the students are loving it. Just that somebody in their distant virtual community too is recognizing that it's their birthday, you know, so. We can
well, talking small accomplishments, like that's what I gave my parents this week. I said, I know it's difficult, but I said, write yourself 3 accomplishments, like 3, and it doesn't have to be big, but write 3 accomplishments. And at the end of the day, cross them off and look at what you did. Yay, I took a shower. Yay, I made supper. Yay, you know, the kids didn't kill each other, right? Like, woohoo, celebrate that, right? Like, we made it. Now let's try again tomorrow. And I've actually had parents post it on our Facebook page and said, this was my accomplishment today. And, you know, yay, hooray for me. Like, yes, exactly. Yay, hooray for you.
I had a parent group in the spring, I had a group, they were all on Facebook together. I'd opened up a Facebook group and they took it upon themselves to post a photo each week of a real life situation. So one of moms was like, y'all look at my kitchen. And she posted a picture of her kitchen and it was a pit. And then everybody else posted their kitchens. And they all felt so good because all of their kitchens were pits. But then after they cleaned their kitchen, whether it was the same day or 2 days or 3 days later, they're like, look, this is what it looks like for 5 seconds. Then they started posting their laundry piles. They posted naked children, like, you know, not naked, but like, this child will not put clothes on today, so whatever, we're doing distance learning in our underwear. It was really, really funny, but the connection, and this was a group that had been together for years. But I do feel like giving them those little questions, how's it going? Hey, you kept children alive today, congratulations, gold star. But I loved it. It was really, really fun to watch. I miss that group so much.
I love when groups gel and there's that community and the, you know, the cohesiveness and the energy. It's like so awesome. It hasn't been a lot like that this fall. This fall's been more like we do what we're supposed to do and we're here because we need it, but not quite as much of that. Although I'm not going to complain. Those who came as they were, I guess, right?
Say as an early childhood and a parent educator, like you get those kids that you're like, oh, I just miss them and I just want to hug them. And I feel the same way about some of my parent groups. So it's like, I just want that whole group. I want to hug them again. Like, yeah.
Well, and then those groups that gel, they just gel and they gel throughout life and they have those constant friends, you know, it's awesome. And then they come back to us when they have the older kids and go, where's my ECFE for high school and middle school and, you know, elementary? Like, we need to keep going. And I'm like, I wish I could help you. You just have to gel outside, like figure it out outside, do things that we taught you how to do. Now use them, you know.
The skills still work for your toddlers, you guys. Like, use them for your middle schooler. They still work.
Or maybe we're supposed to learn how to launch, like we were teaching them to launch. We need to launch our groups together. So now you guys go together into the world, right? Continue on as they leave. Oh man. Okay, I feel like I just got a good dose of something from my pharmacy up in my brain. That feels really good. Thanks for bringing it up, you guys. It's good.
Well, thanks for asking. Well, guys, here we are. It's 1:05. We're at the end of, well, this can be the end. Anyway, but I'm reminded from people's, as they've had to leave us, that next week is Thanksgiving, right? And so I'll just make the exact, I mean, you all have the link. So if you're in need, go ahead and meet on whenever. Maybe it'll be like Thursday afternoon and, you know, you're really regretting not being able to have a traditional Thanksgiving, and then you'll go on the Zoom link to see if anybody else from this group is there. But anyway, so we won't plan to have a regular Friday meeting like we did, but I'll send something out the following week just to remind folks that of the link and that we'll be meeting again. And for that, I hope everybody does have whatever your Thanksgivings end up looking like this year. I hope they're wonderful. And I'm so truly grateful for all of you. This has been an interesting adventure made only better by all of you.
Yes, welcome back, Melissa. It's been a while. And Shannon too. I haven't seen you for a while. Take care, you guys. Thanks so much, Susan.
What a year.
Happy
What a year.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Here.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.